Good afternoon. I'm Caitlin Matson-Levy, and this is the Classical Cafe. I welcome into the green room today Anne Samuelson, concertmaster, Keith Dodson, music director of the Chamber Orchestra of the Smoky Valley, sponsored by Bethany College. This is out of Lindsborg, and this is their first season, their inaugural season. Hello, the both of you. Thank you for joining me.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for having us.
I'm going to start with you, Keith, as music director. We'll call you founding music director. I'm very curious about how the idea was first formed for this chamber orchestra. Whose idea was it? Were you sitting around dinner with friends one night and thought, hey, let's put on a show?
Sure. So, for our viewers that know Lindsberg, we have a really long, rich fine arts tradition here, not just in music, but all the fine arts. And so, as an orchestral conductor, I thought to myself, we've got to figure out a way to get Lindsberg more involved in the music scene. Of course, we have the Messiah, which has been going on for years, but we wanted to have some kind of other orchestral experience. So I actually went to Anne and said, what do you think about the idea of forming an orchestra here in town? And I think after she looked at me like I was crazy, we started to think that it was kind of a cool idea.
We thought we could do something like that. Yes, we put on Messiah and the Bach every year, but otherwise there's some small chamber things that happen, but not really a chamber orchestra where we would have lots of people performing. We have a wonderful community that loves to support things like this, and so we thought, well, we should really try to tap into that.
It's a chamber orchestra, so you're not needing to fill an entire symphony orchestra. You know, the needs aren't quite as demanding in terms of numbers, which I'm sure helps. But, you know, you had touched on about Lindsborg just being this incredibly talented community, and, you know, in the surrounding area as well. You absolutely probably have everybody you need within a 15-mile radius to have a chamber orchestra.
Well, and what's really been nice is we've found that as we've outreached a little bit, like there are so many people that believe in what Lindsberg is. Like just this next concert alone, we have people coming in from K-State, University of Kansas, the Wichita Symphony, Topeka Symphony. It's turned into an environment that I think players are really enjoying playing in because, you know, it's in a smaller town, but it's in a town that's so excited about this ensemble. Like when in our first performance, we could fit maybe 50 to 60 people in there, and we had like 150 people show up.
Oh my
That
goodness.
loves fine arts.
Yeah, it was a COVID situation where we weren't allowed to have everybody in there that could fit, but we could. It was a nice day, so we could have people sitting outside listening to the concert on the grass. That was kind of fun. And the pavilion was a really nice idea because it just fits in with the whole Lindsberg Swedish theme and all that. But gathering musicians to play was the really fun thing too, because we've got people that just are dying to play for fun, and,
Yes.
and it's that's really what it's turned out to be. We have quite a camaraderie with the musicians and the performers that just really want to put on something that's really good, and they're willing to drive
Yeah.
and be a part of this. Yeah.
Keith, tell us some logistics about your upcoming concert on May the 22nd. Where is it at?
Sure.
What time? Things like that.
Sure. So our next concert's May 22nd, and it's at 4 p.m. in Bethany Lutheran Church, which is on Main Street. It is a beautiful, huge white church, and you're going to ask me the address, and I think it's 321 Main Street. It's something like that, but if people Google Bethany Lutheran Church, they'll be able to find it. The sanctuary's a little bit bigger than our previous pavilion performance space, and it really makes sense because the Debussy that we're performing calls for a larger orchestra. Even though it's a chamber orchestra, we'll still be pushing 35, 36 members for this next concert. So it's a
Mm.
lot bigger than what we've previously had.
And what's all on the concert?
Sure. So we're going to open the concert with Debussy's Petite Suite, which is actually originally for piano forehand. And it was transcribed by a colleague of Debussy's at the Paris Conservatory. Then we're going to move to one of what I think is the most beautiful pieces of music of all time, which is the Barber Adagio for strings. It was originally composed as part of his string quartet, Opus 11, but Toscanini, famous American conductor, wanted a string orchestra arrangement of it. And so he premiered it with the NBC Orchestra. And then we're ending with a piece that I have to confess I wasn't super familiar with until Anne suggested it, which is Mendelssohn's Italian Symphony, which is interesting because Mendelssohn was not happy with his work. And up until his death, he rewrote it and rewrote it and rewrote it and rewrote it. but we all perform the original because it's just the perfect piece of music as it is.
One of the happiest pieces of music.
Oh,
Yes.
it's joyful, and it just gets you up and out. I mean, you feel like you're driving on in Italy out on with the open road and the hair and your
Yeah.
No, I know. Yeah, absolutely. I want to go there. It just takes you right there. Let's
Yeah.
listen to a little bit of the finale of Mendelssohn's Symphony Number 4, the Italian Symphony, and we will be back to talk further with Amy Samuelson, concertmaster, and Keith Dodson, music director of the Chamber Orchestra of the Smoky Valley. Part of the finale of Felix Mendelssohn's Symphony Number 4, his Italian Symphony, which the Chamber Orchestra of the Smoky Valley will be performing on their next concert. That is May the 22nd at 4 o'clock. It is at Bethany Lutheran Church in Lindsborg. Not only the Mendelson, but also Debussy's Petite Suite and Samuel Barber's Adagio for strings. Keith Dodson is the founding music director of the orchestra, and Samuelson, the founding concertmaster. And Keith both teach different things at Bethany College, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
And how long have you been at Bethany?
I've been here for 10 years, and I teach high strings, violin and viola, and I coach some chamber music. I teach some piano, class piano for the music majors, and that's about some of my duties. Yeah.
And you are a annual long-standing member of the Messiah Festival of the Arts Orchestra?
Yes, I'm the concertmaster of the orchestra there for the Handel and also for the Bach, which is a wonderful thing to play. Really enjoyed playing that, yeah.
And Keith, how long have you been at Bethany?
So I'm wrapping up my second year at Bethany now. And so I got hired right 1 week before the pandemic shut the world down. So I did my interview up here, and then it was that next week that schools closed and all of those things. And so I got really, really lucky and blessed that as I finished up at Florida State, I was able to, number one, get a job, and number two, be able to do what I love, where I get to conduct orchestra and work with our band here as well. And I've gotten to do a lot of eclectic things in addition to conducting Messiah just a couple of weeks ago and conducting this chamber orchestra too.
Now, you were talking earlier about members of the chamber orchestra coming from all different parts of the state. Does it feel like you're in a room full of old friends? And
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the way the orchestra feels, is that we're all there together as friends trying to make music. Yeah, it does feel that way. Mm-hmm.
like the classical version of a garage band, like, hey man, you want to be in a band?
It is. We're all getting together to jam, right?
That's essentially what it is. And you do it because you love to do it, because
That's
it's like,
it.
it's what we want to do. It's what we want to do in our free time.
It is so fun to put on these concerts. They are just really satisfying kind of feeling. Yeah.
Yes. And I'll add, I don't think I mentioned this, but it is free admission, and they do a goodwill donation, a free will donation, if you would like to dedicate to the future of the chamber orchestra. And Keith, tell us a bit about that future. Like, what is your vision? How do you see it growing? What do you want to see happen in the coming seasons?
We've been really blessed that Bethany College has been such a supporter of this group. And while we've had other grant opportunities, I would say 90% of the reason this group succeeded this first year is because Bethany provided such a generous presidential grant. And we're being considered again for a presidential grant in the future. But I do want to say to anybody that comes to the concert that believes in what we're doing, believes in this mission, we would certainly love donations to help this group exist. And for people that are listening that wanted to, you could simply go to bethanylb.edu/donate and just make sure that you insert chamber orchestra in the memo line. Because this group, because it's new, we really need people in the community that believe in what we're trying to do, believe in bringing music to Lindsborg. And the more donations we can get, the more concerts we can put on, and the more we can bring great music to this community.
Wonderful. Anne, I heard that you're retiring soon.
Oh, yes. Right. So I have been here at Bethany for 10 years, and I've had a wonderful time as a teacher. That I've loved working with the music department here. It's a wonderful staff and a wonderful group of people. My husband is, we moved here when he retired, and so now it's time for me to kind of step down and have some time together with my husband and grandchildren. And I'm all my playing. I'm still going to play with the Wichita Symphony and with this chamber orchestra, and I play the organ at my church, so that always keeps you busy. But
I was going to
still have
say, aren't you retiring to be less busy?
does that sound right? Just imagine all other things I'm taking off my plate. So yeah.
Well, I think congratulations. That's wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, one more time. Let's just run down when this concert is. Keith, give us the details.
Sure. So our concert is on May 22nd at 4 p.m. in Bethany Lutheran Church. And for people who'd like to come, you'll get to hear Debussy Petite Suite, Barber Adagio for strings, and the Mendelson Symphony No. 4, his Italian Symphony.
Thank you both so much for being here and talking with us about the chamber orchestra. And please return when you start your next season. You have an open invitation to come speak with us at any time because it's certainly exciting. And I know Lindsberg has to be just really proud of it. So congratulations to you both.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great concert.